Hi, welcome back to PÖFF TV. My name is Johanna Kristina and we're here right in the heart of the Black Nights Film Festival. Today we have an amazing guest joining us, the talented director behind Mongrels film. So let's give a big welcome to our guest, Jerome Yoo.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, how are you?
Good. I just got into Tallinn yesterday, so...
And how do you like it?
I love it so far.
Oh, nice to hear.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, what is the most important lesson you've learned about storytelling as you've moved from acting to directing?
I don't know if it's necessarily something new, but I think the way that I approach my craft, whether it is acting and performance or directing behind the camera, is I try to be as personal as I can, try to pull from thoughts and ideas, memories from myself that's true. So I think Martin Scorsese once said, as did Bong Joon-ho, that what's most interesting is what's most personal. Something like that.
Yeah, totally. Oh, great answer. But what inspired you to make this movie? Was it some kind of personal experience or some event, or where the idea came from?
I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what exactly was that first spark that initiated my journey with this story. What I am certain of is I think there's fragments of my memories of my upbringing in Canada, because I was pretty much raised there, spent my entire life there. And my family's had quite a journey, through all those years. Being Korean and having immigrated to Canada, through those times, I think they're memories where I kind of layer it in. I think the film is definitely fiction, so it doesn't quite translate exactly what's happened to my family or speak to who my parents are, but definitely just memories and colors and layers of myself that are imbued. So it's very private and
really personal story.
So, perhaps no one will be able to watch a certain moment or a scene and think, I think that's inspired by his dad or his mom or someone in his family. It's
but you know it, that
exactly,
it's coming from you.
Exactly.
Okay, good. But what was the biggest challenge while making this film?
I think dogs, I think children. These are two forbidden things that I hear for first-time feature film directors, and it just so happened that my script had both. And, as we know, dogs, we cannot control how they behave and act on camera. And I think it was very clear to me on set that, what everyone warned me of was true, despite all the rehearsals with the trainers and wranglers. And the dogs were, I think they brought a lot of comfort to set because, everyone loves dogs,
cute,
including myself. But when it comes to the performance we needed from them, especially because a lot of the scenes happen to interact with our child actor. And when those two forces meet, interesting things happen, whether for better or for worse.
So was it for better or for worse?
Both. Maybe happy accidents has happened, which we do see in the film. So I guess it worked out in the end.
Oh, I think so, yeah. But was there any character that was particularly difficult to write or develop? Maybe the child character, or? The
child I actually didn't have as much of a difficult time because, again, reminds me of my younger brother when he was quite young, sort of the naive innocence of how they look at the world.
Yeah.
The father, I thought, was much more difficult for me because he struggles with a lot of burden and pain that I wonder if I would understand or no, because I'm not quite a parent yet. I don't know the weight that they carry. I don't know the grief sometimes of what it's like to lose a partner that, that brought your children into the world. So I think in that sense, I try to put myself in my father's shoes or some other adults that I know that I think would represent this character well, a very spiritual character at the same time. So I'm not sure if I ended up nailing it or not, but then I tried to be as authentic and true to how I perceive, these certain characters in my life. So hopefully it resonates.
Oh, that's so cool that you're just taking it all in, what you see and what you like experience from your personal life, and then you're putting it.
I try
into a
to,
film.
and that's always my question, because it could be so subjective, right? Everyone's experiences and what we
course.
can relate to. So then I always wonder if, you know, this character just comes across as, you know, evil or, you know, like too much of an angel or too nice, you know. Everything's it's difficult to quite capture the relatability in everyone's experience. So it's an interesting experiment. I guess we'll never know as storytellers.
Yeah, of course. But can you share a scene in Mongrels that really captures what it's like to be an immigrant?
I keep coming back to this scene with the father having a phone call with the mother. And am I allowed to spoil the film?
It's your choice to do that.
Well,
you can do it.
I think it just speaks to the loneliness of every night. Like whenever you've had a long day, maybe it's a happy day. Like you just want to share these memories of the things happening, in your life, in what is a new world, right? When you want to share these experiences with someone halfway across the world that aren't there physically to share these moments with you, I find that something about that moment, something about the disconnect and the loneliness, I think that quite speaks to me in something that might be relatable in the immigration experience.
Okay, great answer. But do you have any personal connections to dogs that influenced how they are shown in the film?
Do I have any personal connections? I think, again, it just comes from so much of my life and experiences. Again, like whether there's the family, the Canadian family that takes them in and gives them shelter, things like that. I think something like the plague of the dogs, the wild dogs that are ruining the town, the farmers' livelihoods, the crops and the livestock, that is, of course, fictional, taken from real-life events where there has been farming communities where sort of stray dogs, they, become packs and they breed, and it becomes a big sort of an infestation almost like rats, So then farmers will have to actually hunt these dogs because, they need to protect their lives, in a sense, right? And the harvest. So I kind of took that concept or these stories, and then I thought it might be quite interesting to place my family's sort of immigration stories within that context, and marry the two.
Yeah, but do you feel it's important to represent immigrant experience accurately in your films?
Yes and no. Well, yes, but I like to think that again, there's some magical things that happens. I think I take some liberty in that the child Hannah has this childlike innocence where she can still believe in Santa Claus. I hope everyone doesn't. I hope I'm not ruining that for anyone. But magic still exists in her world because she hasn't quite broken into reality yet. And within this wonderful place, I think unrealistic things or magical things can happen. And so in that way, I bring a bit of imaginative fiction in that world where you look at the father, the son, in their distinct sort of chapters and their perspective. It is very grounded in realism. But then in the father's case, his world also meets with a spirituality. And then there's some magic that happens there where in some ways you could really say like the most grounded of the three characters of the family is the son. So I guess this is all to say it is important, but also I think you could elevate the themes and the message that you're trying to say with some magic and fiction as well, as long as there's authenticity behind it and a clear intention.
Yeah, okay, totally, yeah. But what message or feeling do you hope people take away from this film?
I think all three family members have trials and tribulations as they grieve, and grief is a big part of what they're trying to digest, in this film. So I wonder if the message is something along the lines of no matter how grueling and hard this dark tunnel of grief might be, I think at the end of it, there's always a light of hope or some sort of light. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh. But what themes or topics are you excited to explore in your future films? Or what plans do you have for your future projects?
I'm always a big fan of folk tales and
Oh.
myths and legends. Even this film, I think part of the initial inspiration, I thought of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where a foreigner comes into town and has to take the rat infestation and plague away and solve that. So I think I've always had a big sort of love for these folktale stories.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, you know, if this was a very personal film and a very grounded film in the way that I perceive it, I think maybe the next one, I would love to make it so out of reality and, you know, make it really surreal and absurd and
do you like this fairy tale kind of?
I do. I love absurdity, you know. I love Yorgos Lanthimos and, you know, the Greek weird wave, all of that. I know he actually hates to label it the Greek weird wave, but I think, yes, and just something quite out of this world I would love to explore a bit more of in the future.
That's so cool, and I think it's so needed also, like people need this magic through films also.
I agree. It makes me sad growing up because everything becomes more black and white as an adult, and
oh yeah, I totally
wonder,
connect with you with that.
I almost wonder if I try to stay more childish as I make through film.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a great thing to do, I think. Then life can be more like joyful.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Cinema brings me joy, so
That's good to hear.
hopefully I can make cinema that brings others joy as well.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that it will. But thank you. We've uncovered so many details about this film and about this story. So huge thanks to you that you were coming here, and it was really nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning into PÖFF TV. I hope I will see you here again. So catch you later. Bye.